Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha. So if you've just joined us there, everyone, we're just about to kick off in another minute or two. I just see the numbers of attendees is climbing here. Nice, Ger, we kick off?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome everyone to our session today on mobile asset tracking within life science facilities. I'm joined by Ger, a Senior Director at PlantQuest. The session will go for about 20 minutes and then we'll have about 10 minutes of Q&A at the end. At any stage, if any questions, put them into the comments below the stream that you're watching on, and we'll get to them throughout the session or at the end. The session is recorded as well, so you'll be able to watch it back on using the same link that you've joined us on today. So George, maybe you want to kick off and give us a bit of a background to who PlantQuest are and our team's experience.
Thanks a million, Crabben. Okay, thanks everyone for coming here today. And today the session is going to be about mobile asset tracking, and we'll be specifically looking at calibration and production equipment. So a little bit about us. So as a company, PlantQuest are fully focused on all of our experiences working in life science facilities. So your presence in Ireland and America with an office in North Carolina. We work with very large life science facilities in Europe and North America. And the system, you can think of it as Google Maps for your site. So anything that you use Google Maps for outside of work, we generally try and give you the same experience inside work. So that's search, locate, and navigate, wayfinding solutions, and then integration with the systems of record within your site, such as asset management systems, calibration management systems, automation systems, those type of systems. So a quick agenda for today. So we're going to look at why people track assets. We're going to look at the PlantQuest OneView platform. We're going to look at the various technologies. We feel the technologies are trending towards one particular type of technology, that's the Wirepas Mesh Network. And then we'll look at a case study of one of our clients, and then we'll look at how this might fit into your facility. So I suppose looking at what assets should you track is a great place to start, because that will dictate the system and the outcomes that you get. So from a production and operations perspective, there's two reasons why you want to track assets, and that's regulatory and efficiency. So people want to know where their totes, their IBCs are, their single-use mixers, pumps, batches, media vessels, various different systems like that. They're looking for this so they can prove where they are, what's in them, and also they're able to optimize their equipment usage, which we'll get into in a minute. Calibration standards then is another big one that people want to track. Every calibration standard is associated with, every calibration has a calibration standard associated with it, and those calibration certs are attached to the batch. So if you lose a piece of calibration equipment, a calibration standard, then that results in a very large deviation that can result up to and including in a batch recall, which is the worst case scenario. So being able to keep track of calibration standards, it's a huge regulatory problem that's been solved, but it's also an efficiency thing. So if you can optimize the use of your calibration equipment, it's a major win. And finally, I suppose EHS is another use case around lifting equipment. They need to be inspected on a regular basis in order to keep people safe. So knowing where all your lifting equipment is also very important. So the benefits of asset tracking, at its most basic, it's knowing where an asset is, so that it prevents you wasting time walking around the site looking for it. Secondly, then you want to optimize equipment usage. So looking at calibration, looking at single-use mixers, totes, all that then feeds into efficiencies. So you're preventing downtime and bottlenecks. You're reducing cleaning cycles, and you're reducing the time that inspectors and auditors spend on site looking at equipment. Finally, then, is looking at what kind of insights can we gain, because when you start bringing various different information sources together, like your MES, your asset positions, your room names and numbers, you're very easy to start making insights, like when an asset entered an area or moved from one area to another, looking at historical location, movement and flow of batches and equipment. Very soon you're able to make really nice, succinct insights into what's happening in your plant and your process and your manufacturing network. So we're going to jump into a video of PlantQuest in a second. But first of all, I'm going to give you a little bit of information just on PlantQuest OneView, the platform that we use. So it gives you real-time insight into your facility and your asset movement. It's tailor-made for pharma and med device facilities. We feel that we stand out amongst asset tracking solutions. We're not a generic, warehouse-based asset tracking solution. We really get down into the weeds of the requirements of pharma and med device systems, and nowhere is that reflected more than in our integrations with and our knowledge. We come from automation operations backgrounds ourselves, so integrations with asset management systems, maintenance management systems, ERP systems. We're highly knowledgeable in the calibration space as well. So yeah, we're a lot more than just asset tracking. We bring asset tracking to your other systems. The system is available on web and mobile, and on mobile we have iOS and Android applications, and it's super easy to use, as you'll see now in our demo. So this is our demo plant here. So you can see, very easy to interact with the system. You can click on a room or area and you can see a list of the assets on the left-hand side. So super easy to use. Just like searching for an address in Google, you can type in the name, the number of any room, area, or asset. So we found a tote here. We give you all the information on that tote, up to and including the batch number that's in it at the moment. You can link out to a system like Ignition if you wish. And on the bottom there, you can see we give you the historic movement of the asset as well. So that information is available to you through the platform. You can then zoom in exactly on where the asset is, so you can see the exact corner of the room it's in, and then PlantQuest then can route you straight from your office or anywhere in the site to that asset. So we'll just select the office. And before you even leave your desk, what PlantQuest does is it tells you, okay, you're going to building 15, level 1, line 3, buffer prep area. You can tell you the batches associated with and the access conditions to get into the room. And then once we click OK here, you can see that we have a route straight through the plant to your asset. So now you know the asset, the batch, the room, everything that's associated with it, and the route to it. You can also filter. So in this case, we're going to look at production totes that are in use. I'm going to click go, and you can see that there's 10 assets that we found. And again, you can show all the tags of the asset, so you can touch on the asset and you can see the ID of the asset, and you can look at any information that's been pulled from an MES or a historian. That information is there for you. Next, we're going to look at work packs. So we're going to load a work pack. We're going to look at calibration standards. So we're going to look and see the location of a group of calibration standards that are in use in this building. And again, you can just look at all the different pieces of equipment. So we've got some pressure testers, some flukes, some multimeters and stuff. We're now going to look at calibration tester, DPI 610. So you can see information on it here. You can see up to and including an integration out to see the calibration cert of the asset. And now we're going to route to that asset. So you can see this asset now is on the second floor of the plant. So if we select that we want to route to it from the maintenance store, So again, zooms to the exact part of the plant you need to be, gives you all the information you need before you go. And you can see now we give you a route straight through the plant to your stairs, upstairs, and straight to your destination. So you can see it's currently in the technical space. So if anyone spent any time looking for calibration equipment, you'll know that you've saved a lot of time. This is just our back end here where you can see, take a deeper dive on assets and asset information. We also have a full audit trail here. So you can see when assets were added to the system, any changes that were made to the asset as well. So there's a full suite of tools that can be used to audit and assess your assets. So asset tracking technologies. At PlantQuest, we're technology agnostic. Generally, we come across 3 different types of asset tracking technologies. So Wi-Fi, RFID, and Wirepas. Wi-Fi has obviously been around a long time. The benefit of Wi-Fi is that it uses existing Wi-Fi infrastructure. The issue with this is that it's old, and you quite often, well, you always have to integrate with the site's IT network, which is becoming less and less popular and quite expensive once you bring all that into it. And quite often the Wi-Fi networks are optimized for Wi-Fi, not asset tracking. So to try to triangulate off of a network that's not optimized for asset tracking can be quite difficult. RFID, a lot of hardware needs to be installed for RFID. The tags themselves are strips, so they are very cheap, but the accuracy, it only tells you where the asset was last seen. It doesn't tell you where it currently is. And the readers are mains powered, so you're looking at 100+ readers on site to gain any type of decent insights into your asset locations. And then finally, Wirepas, which is where we're trending to. It's a very scalable, accurate, and cost-effective solution. I'll go into more detail on it now, but it doesn't need to interact with your IT or OT network if it doesn't have to, and it's very low setup and wire-free. So how Wirepas works. So Wirepas is based on 3 pieces of equipment. So you've got your tag, which you use to tag your equipment. You've got your anchor or your beacon, which interacts with the tag to find out where the tag is. Then you've got your gateway that your anchor or beacon talks to give it the location of the tags. So these green items are your beacons. You install your beacons. Your asset tag triangulates off the 3 beacons it can see. That's sent back to the cloud. The cloud processes that into geolocation and it's rendered in PlantQuest. The gateway talks to the cloud via 4G or 5G or via Wi-Fi, but the key here is that it doesn't ever need to actually interface with your Wi-Fi network if you don't want to. Beacon batteries last about 8 years, tags last about 3 years. So just to recap on that, so very, very easy to get up and going. So operates independent of your 4G and 5G. Wire-free network. So the beacons that you can see here are stuck onto the wall using sticky backs, and the batteries last about 9 years. They're about the size of a small credit card. You only install the beacons in areas that you wish to track. Obviously, the more beacons you install, the higher the accuracy. We generally tell our customers to go for 6 or 7 meter accuracy. There's no single point of failure. So if one beacon falls out of the network, it just self-heals. And there's an awful lot, there's a very large amount of equipment available. Lots of manufacturers are manufacturing for it, and they can be swapped and changed, used interchangeably, depending on your requirements, up to including clean room, obviously. So we've this calculator that we use to try and explain to customers how much equipment they would need. So for a site size or tracking in about 50,000 square meters within a site, about 500 assets across 5 floors, you're looking at 1 beacon per 250 square meters. So that's only just over 200 beacons to gain 5 to 6 meter accuracy within your site across 5 floors. And the only thing that you need to plug in is the gateway. So 1 gateway on each site, 230 or 110. Beacon batteries last about 8 years on the standard, and on the larger batteries, they last about 18 years. So you're very you can have a system up and running very quickly with a system like Wirepas. So these are some of the sites that we've deployed in. So we look at biomedical, contact lens factories, biotech, biopharma, some aseptic facilities as well. And you can see there's a wide geographical spread: Ireland, Europe, and North America. So this is one of our sites that we worked with. The big challenge that they had, they wanted to install this equipment and they wanted to increase production output. So challenges they were having is they were having repeated cleaning cycles owing to equipment going out of sanitation. They wanted to reduce bottlenecks and downtime, and just overall just reduce time looking for IBCs and other vessels and pieces of equipment. So the outcome was a 50% reduction in waiting times, 50% reduction in IBCs exceeding their cleaning campaign, and all this kind of funneled into 37 extra batches per year. So that was 780,000 from those 37 extra batches. So that was a 1.1 million ROI in a matter of months, which was a huge win for our client. So looking at Wirepas in your facility, so it's very easy for us to look at a facility and know exactly what's required in terms of resource and effort and cost. So all we need really from a client is their layout drawings and the type and number of assets that they want to track. Because we work exclusively in pharma, we understand your facility constraints, and we'll work with you around these constraints in terms of access, types of room, types of area, types of equipment, the pain points that you're facing. So looking at what type of return on investment you're looking to get, selecting the hardware, looking at the accuracy requirements, and they can vary between the different parts of your site. And then finally, we'll look at the technical and security aspects with your IT team. Finally, if you're looking for this kind of information from us in terms of what a deployment would look like, feel free to reach out to us directly, or you can go to our website and there's a calculator there where you can input some very basic information, and we will get back to you with a very detailed estimate on what a project deployment in your site would look like. So that's us here. Do we have any questions, Krevin? And before we do, I just want to say thanks to everyone for tuning in today. My email address is there. Our website is also there. That's plantquest.com, QUEST.
Excellent. Yeah, so we've had a couple of questions sent in to us. Just if any of the attendees have any more questions, you can add them on the LinkedIn comment trail there where you've joined us. So Ger, I want to get going. I'll let you push it on the screen here. So we have somebody asking, can we track both mobile assets and fixed assets like equipment or instrumentation?
Yes, very short answer. So PlantQuest has two systems really in one. So for looking at assets such as valves, motors, pumps, transmitters, anything that's stick-built or fixed within your plant, it's as simple as just dropping a pin. There's no hardware required to locate assets that don't move. And you can get all the same features. You can integrate with a maintenance system, BMS system for notifying locations of alarms. All that type of information is available along with the routing and navigation through the plant. Obviously, when you're looking to track mobile assets, there is a network. In this case, we more often than not recommend the Wirepas network, which I described to you. That needs to be installed. But yeah, fixed or mobile assets, 100%.
Excellent. Let's see what other ones we have here. Yeah, here's another one I think is very applicable. So what happens if a tagged asset or mobile asset moves into a restricted or incorrect zone?
Yeah, so in PlantQuest, we have every room and area is identified, and we also have the ability to group rooms or to draw geofences and create notifications and alerts around them. So if an asset moves into an area that's been identified to have a notification associated with it, then the system will fire off a notification accordingly.
excuse me, I was muted. So, so does the system work across multiple buildings or floors?
Yeah, as you saw in the demo there, the system works across multiple buildings, floors. So we're deployed across some very large campuses, upwards of over 2,000 rooms spread across 8 or 10 buildings, over across 6 or 7 levels. So yeah, the system is super flexible that way. So yeah, that's a definite, yeah.
Excellent. I have a question here in the comments. So he's asking, can we track mass pieces of calibration, or excuse me, mass pieces for calibration purposes?
Yeah, I assume you're looking at like mass as in like weights for dead weight testers, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it depends on how you store your pieces of equipment for the dead weight tester or for your weighing scales. But yeah, you can if they're in a case, then obviously you can tag the case that they're in. But if they're plates or weights, then you can attach a tag to them and obviously take them off before you use them. If you want to put a bit more detail on what exactly you mean around mass, I think I'm right, but feel free to ping us with a bit more information.
Excellent. Just while we wait for him to come back to us, we did one more that was sent in to us. So nice and straightforward. How long does it take to deploy a system?
Yeah, so in order to deploy a system for a pretty large site, probably 75,000 square meters with 350 beacons for about 6 or 7 meter accuracy, you're looking at probably 8 to 10 weeks, with probably 2 weeks of that spent on site. So a day or two for initial site visit, and then we map out the site, we get all your requirements, and then we come to site for about 10 days, get the system up and running, and then we come back at the end and we do a 2-day commissioning process. So the majority of it is done off-site. And I suppose it's probably worth noting as well in terms of effort, about 80% of the effort is on our side and about 20% is on the client side.
Perfect. Let's see. I know there's about a 30-second delay with the LinkedIn stream, so we can just wait and see if a couple more come through. Do you see any there on your side, Ger?
No.
Yeah.
No, I just hang on here. We just hang on for a few more minutes, Kevin.
Yep, definitely.